Good morning, it's the Kurre and Klapow Show. Right here on the Tony Curry Radio Network.
Even the best sometimes. Everyone's, come on.
I need a producer, man. Anybody, listen, if you're watching us on Facebook Live right now and you want to produce the Kurre and Klapow Show every morning and do it on the fly and do it cheap, we need you.
Look at you. Where's my producer?
I don't know why. I've been sitting here talking about Facebook groups and stuff. There's got to be like a Facebook group of radio people that just want to do it just for the love of doing radio. No?
Maybe. Dude, you can do I remember back in the day when you used to produce. Did you ever produce your entire show yourself? Did you always have help?
Huh?
Like when you were spinning records and stuff, was it just you?
Yeah. See, at this point, I don't even know if we're on. So
okay. Okay. We're on Facebook Live.
Yeah. See, it's playing Kiss because it's up in the thing.
Okay. So okay. We'll okay. We'll be right back.
No, you just keep it up. That's fine.
Okay.
No, we're good.
This is like a reality show.
Sure.
Okay, so now you're looking at me, and
We're just gonna stop that.
yeah, we're gonna stop that. You're getting to see behind the scenes Tony Curry. So what I was saying was, you're gonna test it out. Go ahead. You want to do a quality check?
That's the great thing about. That's the great thing about apps is you can just like take your stuff and you can listen to it whenever you want.
Okay.
And you know if you're good.
We good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to push?
No, hell no. No, I'm done.
Is your fly zipped up today? Your zipper was open?
You know what I find out is
because you're a radio guy.
I've been forgetting. I'm putting an extra step in between tucking my shirt.
Oh, look at us there. He.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm putting an extra step in the morning. So somewhere I don't have my regular routine, and I'm putting an extra step in, so I'm forgetting to pull my zipper up.
What's the extra step?
Because I went to Publix yesterday with my zipper down the entire time.
What is this extra step?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm blowing my nose or I'm getting something out of my ear or something.
That's pretty sad that it's like that.
Yeah, and so I'm missing that extra step.
So let me just ask you this quickly. So back in the day, was there any point in your entire radio career where you were doing all of it? Was there always some level of producer, or in the day did you do all of it?
No. When I started doing classic rock, when I got here in '88, I did all of it. I was my board operator, and then when I went over to Jocks to do the sports show for like 12 or 13 years, I was going to run the board.
Okay.
And I said because I was a board runner because Al and Jay had never run a board before. They were athletes, and you know they're muscle heads that talked X's and O's. And they brought another level to the table, an incredible level. So I was like, I'll run the board, and we'll save some money. And then when they hired a producer, I was like, super cool. So they hired a producer. I'd never been in that position.
I was going to ask you
years,
that. Okay.
For 30 years of my career, I did it all, and I produced my own commercials. I spent like 3 hours a day doing commercials.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I had this guy saying, hey, listen, you have a commercial to produce today. And I would just sit in the studio and be done in 60 seconds. He'd put it
this
together.
Is great.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was,
and here you are back,
and now I'm right back to where we had to produce all, which is fine because I still, I was putting in 9-10 hours a day. Radio people just don't do that,
dude. This is. I mean, I know you're talking about radio, but this is the cycle of business, right? This is the app. I see this more. This is classic business. You start off scrambling, right, and you may have, and you get, and this is the part I think is most interesting. You get to this point in your early career where you've been successful enough that you get things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an administrative assistant. Maybe it's a producer, right? And that first time you get that extra help, and I remember this for myself, I was like, this is great. Somebody to not do things, not do my work with it.
An assistant or a producer.
Oh my God, it's great. But then, right, then the cycle is, and you go. I mean, you do your corporate stuff, and you got your job, and you go. And for whatever reason, maybe you decide to get out, maybe you lose your job or whatever. You maybe decide to start over, and it is that reckoning that oh crap, I got to do all this stuff again. But this is my little bit of executive coaching. The great part of it is you know how to do it. I mean, the technology may change, the business structure, but I think it takes people when they start a business, particularly if it's a second business, they've already had a career, there's that early shaky period. Oh my God, I'm used to this. But then you realize, well, hell, I've done this.
Yeah.
I've done this. It's just a little bit different.
Okay.
It is. Okay. Like, what do you think I do?
It's a lot different.
No, but I tell you this every day. I mean, this is the hardest part of starting your own business, without a doubt. is, even if you haven't have the experience of being in a corporate world, is you have to do all these roles that are not really what you do.
Yeah.
Right? And it's everybody does everything. You start with one person and they do everything. Then you get 2 people in and they're doing everything. Then you get 3 and it slowly grows, hopefully, if you're successful, to a point where then everybody does have their role. Mm-hmm. But man, in the early days of any company, everybody's figuring out how to do everything. And the greatest thing about that is that once you get to the successful part, everybody has had the experience of doing the different pieces.
Yep.
And so now you have, if there's a problem, if there's a cash flow shortage, now people can back up and be as a team. It's like sports.
And
no
try
different.
doing that during a pandemic.
Well, Stephen, I talked about that yesterday on.
I'm done using the pandemic as an excuse for anything because
I used it last night.
I know what I'm capable of doing. I know it's changed things, but the world goes on, so it's kind of like that's what it is, and that's what you deal with. So it's kind of like these PPPs and all these different things, and it's great if you can get the money. But there's so many people that have ripped off the government with that stuff, and so if I can just get through it without having to pay anybody back and just get through this tough spot, I think I'm good. I want to start with a great story. Kathy Patton,
idea,
was on a golf course.
Okay.
When she received a call, this happened yesterday. A call that her daughter Pfeiffer had gone into labor.
Okay.
Shortly after arriving at the Greater Baltimore Medical Center, Patton, who was her mother, had a heart attack.
Oh, geez.
While she got to the hospital. She died.
Oh, geez. This is a great story.
Was clinically dead for 45 minutes until they brought her back to life.
Oh, my God.
It was a second chance at life. I'm just going to be the best person I could be in every way, and I'm grateful for every minute I have, she said. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the hospital at the 2nd floor, she was on the 3rd, Pfeiffer was being told that she had to undergo an emergency C-section because her baby was stuck in the birth canal.
This is a movie.
It really is. After nearly an hour of CPR, Patton was revived. A short time later, her 8th grandchild was born. It was just a fate that Mom was supposed to be here. It was ultimately because of a law that my mom is here and happened to be at the right place at the right time. So Mom has a heart attack, goes to the hospital, is dead for 45 minutes, CPR for an hour. She comes back, and then a floor below her, her daughter's having a baby, and everyone's fine. They're both healthy.
That's crazy. I mean, that never happens.
There's your feel-good story for the day.
Dude, that's
that crap up, dude.
Jeez.
Tell me ain't no miracles. It's 2 miracles in one day. The doctors are like, it's 2 miracles in one day.
For them, it's a great story.
Yeah.
I actually think if you think about what our doctors are going through right now, they really needed that.
No doubt.
Like whatever health care location that is, you just think about what they're going through every single day to have a beautiful miracle.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a buddy of mine who is an anesthesiologist, and so he spends most of his day now intubating people. Mm-hmm. And he and I are really good friends, and I think what he does is both admirable and strange, right? Because he's an anesthesiologist. He always says, like, my job is to bring people bring people to the brink of death every day, right? Particularly if it's an elective surgery, bring them down, make sure they're good throughout a surgery, and then bring them back to life. That's what I do. I do it all day long. And and he's got dials I'm like, dude, that's a weird job. I mean, that's just weird. He's like, I love it. I don't have to talk to anybody, because he's a kind of solitary guy. Yeah. I don't have to talk to anybody other than, initially I make some pleasantries, I make sure the patient feels good, and then during the surgery, I can talk to the doctors or whatever. So I asked him, I said, well, are you doing this? He said, no, I'm spending most of my time intubating people. And he, you can go on Google and you can say, he makes me. And I said, what's that like? And he said, on the one hand, obviously we've been trained to do it. It's very routine because we do it.
What's involved in incubating somebody?
Intubating.
Incubating
is to put them in a nice little warm thing.
That's what I thought you meant. Intubating.
No, intubating. This is where you're putting the breathing tube down the trachea. And and what he said was, he said, you kind of get to this place. He said, before COVID, it's not something that we did every day, all day long. And he's like, you get to this place where you forget, to some degree, that you're intubating people, most of whom, or many of whom, will die. I mean, we know that. And he said, when you have those moments, either when they live, number one, or number two, when something else nowadays happens, when I have to do an epidural because a woman's going to have a baby. Mm-hmm. He's like, the gratitude for that is something that my entire career, I've never had that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's worth it for us to sort of think about our doctors and nurses, and obviously we're praying for them and we support them. But I think it's important to think about what their day is like.
Oh, yeah.
And particularly that's a huge feel-good story.
That is a good feel story. Yeah, and I don't think I wonder how many people that actually. I remember David Letterman when he had his open heart surgery, when he brought all of his doctors on stage. And said,
yes,
"You guys saved my life." How much they appreciate that. I for the most part, I can always remember thanking. I've only been a couple times. I had neck surgery and stuff, but I can think of a couple times where I really said thank you for what you do. It's their job. That's what they got to do. But at the same time, they're special people. Yeah, we applaud their efforts.
Good. Now that's a feel. I wanted to get that across.
I want to get into every parent's fantasy. Did you see this?
Oh, no. I thought this was a different one.
Every parent's fantasy. There's not a parent out there that has not considered this. I know you have thought about it. You don't follow through. This Centerpoint woman, here, and we have people listening throughout the country, but we're stationed here in Birmingham, the Hoover area. This Centerpoint woman was arrested last night, I guess yesterday afternoon, for following through on her fantasy. We'll talk about that coming up right after I tell you about Jeff Hammock at Spy for Rent. Our good friend Jeff Hammock's fantastic. Spy for Rent. If you need information on anything, any institution, anybody, you're in a court case, child custody, Tinder, whatever it is, if you need information on somebody or something, Jeff Hammock's the man to get it for you, and probably get it in about 10 or 15 minutes. Spy for Rent, spy4rent.com, 790-3051, 790-3051. He's fantastic. He's a spy. He's a private eye. He's been doing it for over 32 years. He's been with us for the last 5 years. He's fantastic. I never thought in a million years I would ever use a private investigator. I had friends of mine that had people spying on their wives. I'm like, dude, it's never gonna. And not to say that I had that done, but I used it for extended family issues.
Yes,
and it was fantastic. He also rents out GPS tracking stuff, does bug sweeps. He does it all. You can take things into your own hands, and it's all in the up and up. And he's fantastic. He's well respected in the legal field. So check out Spy for Rent's Jeff Hammock.
I was just going to say that's the other thing too. I think people think about it as, somewhere between creepy and Magnum PI.
Yeah.
He works with companies all over the state. Mm-hmm. He works with lawyers, and I think what you said is so important. Like, as a private investigator, he's not just snooping around.
No.
He is an information expert.
Yep.
And I've been amazed at how many companies will use him for things like, everybody has background checks, but there's like background checks, and then there's Jeff Hammock background checks. Mm-hmm. And so there's a stereotype about PIs, and I know that as being a shrink.
Yep.
He's not like that, other than the fact that he can appear anywhere at any moment.
The superintendent of Jefferson County Schools, that's true, Dr. Walter Gonsolin, called the incident unacceptable and said it will not be tolerated, according to NBC 15 here locally. What's NBC 15?
15?
Yeah, 15.
It's 13.
It should be. It was Jefferson County Schools. It happened in Centerpoint when Nanette Waldrop, 37, a mother, boarded a school bus in Centerpoint on Tuesday and got into a fight with an elementary schooler she said believed was bullying her child.
Oh, jeez.
We've all had that, because every one of our children has been bullied at some point.
And
it starts affecting their school.
Yep.
They're getting stomach aches. They don't want to go to school. You're like, honey, what's going on? It can happen all the way through high school. I know you've had
it's horrible. It's horrible.
My kids, it's horrible. And for people, we were bullied, but it's just not the same. And now you got social media pounding on it. I mean, I would not want to be a kid again. Not in this world. And so she took things in her own hand. So she found out who she thought it was that was bullying her child.
And you said elementary school.
Again, it's an elementary schooler. And while this is not our issue now, but a law enforcement matter, let me just say what I saw in a video, and evidently there's a video that's out there, you can find it. At no point is any type of violence acceptable, especially violence against students. She was released from jail Tuesday night after posting bonds totaling $10,500 and wasn't immediately clear if the 11-year-old who she attacked was injured. Then I've thought so many times. I've thought so many times. I know,
it's a mashup between all your fantasies right there.
Mm-hmm. I've thought so many times because every one of my kids has been bullied at some point.
Yep.
That's normally when I go, how would you like Dad to come by and have lunch with you?
That's good.
And that's what I usually do. and all in a roundabout way, hey, this Steve kid you've been talking about, where's he at? Just to kind of take a look. There was a guy that or a boy that was bullying another friend of my daughter's. This is last year.
And your daughter's 9.
Yeah, I know, right? and again, brush it off. She's like, if you can't speak nice to people, you shouldn't speak nice to people. And if you don't really want to be my friend, then that's fine, but you should leave me alone. I mean, she says
your
stuff
daughter
like that.
is either going to be an actress or sales and marketing.
She says stuff like that.
She can talk her way at 9 years. I'm telling you, I've got one of those at home that they can talk. Your daughter can talk her way in and out at a level that most adults can't.
Yeah. And the boy goes,
what?
You're not worth dealing with. And he leaves her alone.
Exactly.
He's like, what? I'm just trying to beat you up. What are you doing? But she's like, no, if you can't be nice to me and you can't say the nice thing, then you just need to leave me and my friends alone, okay? Now, if you want to be my friend, I can be your friend, and I'll be more than happy to have lunch with you. But if you can't be nice to me, and he's like, what?
That's appropriate. That's conflict management.
And it works.
You're right.
Because at 9 years old or 10 years old, kids are like, what? I just wanted to steal your sandwich. What's wrong? So this kid's sitting across from me. I'm being totally cool. And he keeps messing with my daughter's friend.
Yeah.
And he's picking at her stuff and
he's not hitting her and stuff,
poopy face and stuff like that, whatever. And so I says, no, I'm a man. I understand these. I said, normally, and then he took her lunch bag or something, and she was asking for it back. And I said, normally, whenever a boy teases a girl, that means he likes her.
You're so good at that. That's the first thing he did.
What? And I said, well, sure.
Yeah, you must like her.
I said, or else you wouldn't keep bothering her. You obviously like this girl a lot because you can't leave her alone. And man, this kid, I do not like her. And he had a little tantrum right there at the table. I said, dude, it's okay. She's cute. She's not cute. She was cute. She's not cute. Take your lunch back. And he got up and walked off. And that was the last time.
That was really good.
What's true?
And how did you put your 6'5" frame in those little tiny chairs?
They're very difficult.
That is hard.
Yeah,
because
I'm my ass at the end of lunch because my butt cheeks are hanging off each side of the little circles. Yeah. But anyway, so we've all had this fantasy.
Oh yeah,
particularly in high school because it goes all the way through high school.
And it gets an 8-year-old. I mean, you can't write it off, but it's pretty.
Yeah, it's 8 years
But
old.
As you start getting it 10.
When kids are old enough to realize what they're doing and how they're doing it, and they're using social media, and they have phones and Instagrams and Snapchats, you're kind of like a kid.
Well,
I know you've seen it.
It's horrible, and it instantly pulls on your primal parental instinct. I mean, obviously for this woman, enough to get her on the bus.
Lost it, yeah.
I mean, it is you, and any one of us who's had our kids bullied. You feel it. Like it's before you think it, you feel it, and that's your parental protective instinct.
Because we've all gone through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was bullied.
I wasn't. I was teased. Yeah. I was teased.
And
teacher's pet.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, me too.
Teacher's pet.
I had a kid that did the big nose jokes.
Yeah,
and I remember it. I'm not saying it traumatized me or anything.
No, but you remember it.
Remember it. I remember the kid. I remember what happened, and I don't remember a lot from school, but I remember those moments, and so it stuck with me. And now the kid's changing tires on an express oil change up in Westchester, Ohio. So see how shit works.
Karma is the best.
Karma is it is something else, isn't it? But it's one of those situations where you do remember those times, and I remember bullying myself. I remember there was one particular
bullied
kid.
Yourself?
No, not bullied myself. Oh. I bullied someone.
Yep.
His name was Richie Lennox, and I want to reach out to, if I can find him on Facebook. I would apologize.
He's probably the CEO of
because we were good friends for a long period of time. I used to go to his
really?
house, and then he was a geek. Really smart kid. I became kind of that class clown radio guy, and I was insecure. I was a jerk off. I was a piece of crap. And I remember my junior year in high school giving him hell at lunch, and I made the kid cry. And
did your parents ever find out?
No,
because that's I
felt horrible about it.
That's good. Well, that's your Catholic.
And there was also a kid on the bus
Man, you picked on kids on the bus?
There was a kid on the bus that had some type of medical issue where he did not have a very good smell.
Okay.
And the other kids used to give him a hard time. And
did you stick up for him?
No.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, in hindsight, I was insecure. I was a jerk.
Did you know here's an interesting thing, because I think a lot of kids go through this, particularly as they get slightly older. Did you know in that moment, or did you feel in that moment when the other kids were teasing and you were not doing anything, did you know that was not the right thing to do in that moment? Did you feel weird because like you felt like you should, or no? Or did not even register for you?
I think whenever you do something that's not right, you know it deep down. I think, the peer pressures of being funny in front of other classmates. And,
of course.
My son's a great kid, but whenever he gets around his friends, he does dumb things. It's one of those peer pressure things where, and again, I got reprimanded for it, and that was the last time it ever happened. But I don't remember my mom and dad ever talking to me about it. I mean, I called the principal's office.
And that's interesting.
No, back in those days, you get called the principal's office. They didn't send notes home. My mom and dad never knew what happened. And I was the flag guy. I mean, I put the flag up every morning. I was a good kid.
Well, maybe that's why.
And so they were kind of like, what
happened to you, Tony Curry? Did they call you Anthony?
Yeah. I knew if I got Anthony, I got Paddle too.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Man, you grew up in a whole different, we're the same age, man. You grew up in a whole nother world than I did.
Yeah. But that was the last. And now, in hindsight, it's one of those things that you learn. You think, man, I was a real, but it was all my insecurities.
Of course,
I was trying to find myself. I had pimples. I wasn't getting laid.
That is,
listen. I was trying to find myself, and all I know is I can make people laugh by making fun of other people, and I hate that. And if Richie Lennox, you're out there listening right now, I owe you a phone call. I feel I thought about the other night. I thought I need to call him, find him, and apologize.
You should
to him for
call Jeff Hammock. He'll find
because
him.
I remember the look on his face, looking at me, going,
"Well, and he was your friend."
Yeah, and he was like, "Why are you doing this to me?" And
that's sad. That's breaking my heart. Listen,
that felt horrible.
Those are reckoning moments, and I think as a parent, obviously you don't want your kid to be bullied or picked on or teased, and we're very protective about that. I think we tend to write off on average when our kids are not so much bullying, teasing or excluding other kids. We'd write that off as, well, that's just, tweens being tweens, teens being teens. And I think one of the most powerful lessons that you can not only teach your kid, but mold into your child is to be that kid who pulls in the one who's pushed out. Right? Because if you think about kids when they're developing, the most important thing at age 10 to 18, 10 to 17 is to be included.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, as a parent, and this I always say is, you mean nothing as a parent. In that time, when they're in that time, it is all about friends, peers, and more than anything else, being a part of. Mm-hmm. So to be excluded from anything is other than being physically bullied, is the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
And one of the things that a lot of teens do.
Would you say that physical or mental bullying is worse?
I mean,
they're both damaging, and obviously physical bullying is
I would say that one fight kind of thing is bad, but not as bad. I think repeated, the classic, every time on the walk home, your kid gets beat up. That is worse than mental, because it's both. It's both. But excluding somebody, purposely excluding somebody in this, in the devious ways that kids do, is one of the most gut-wrenching things. And we've all been through this as parents, or most of us, because most of our kids have been on that side. Mm-hmm. If you can teach your child the same way we teach them all these morals and values, that it is not okay to see a kid who's excluded and just let it go. That it is your job as a child, as a person, to bring that person in, or befriend that person.
But
it's your job.
I know what you.
Now, I'm not saying they're going to do it.
But are kids smart enough at that point to know that? Because
they're smart enough, but it's the pull. They're smart enough. Now, I'm not saying
the whole campaign with Tony the Tiger, the drop the pouch. Or I forget what it is. It's called drop the pouch, or hold my pouch, where they're drink pouches. They see something happening. Hold my pouch. I need to take care of something, and the kid intervenes. Hey, leave him alone.
Well, I don't
think it's called Hold My Patch, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It looks great, and I wish my 8-year-old would think, that girl's being bullied, I need to go help her.
Well,
but I don't know how many kids are actually mature enough. I sure as hell wasn't. At
Not
that
at
point
8,
because we're still trying to find our. We don't want to get outside our groups.
But you see what I'm saying? That what you're supposed to do as a parent, teacher, adult, is while they are totally consumed, which I understand this is normal. They're totally consumed with finding their group.
Yeah.
What they also should be aware of is that as they're trying to find their group, someone over there has been kicked out of their group. And I'm not talking about intervening on bullying. What I'm saying is this is teaching kids empathy is what it is. And I think a lot of times we protect our kids. It's okay, you'll find your people or whatever. And what's more important or equally important is to say to your child, and we've done this with our kids, see how you know how you feel right now? You know how you feel?
Yep.
That's how Susie feels. Mm-hmm. And I'm not asking you to be bold enough to bring Susie into the group and stand up and make a speech. Yep. But what I am asking you to do is go over and talk to Susie, maybe privately. Maybe, that is the most important. And I'll tell you this without mentioning any names. I can think of now one of my daughter's friends now who, when they were young, had the birthday party. And this little girl was sort of friends, but kind of on the outside, and my daughter ignored her the entire birthday party. Yeah. We hammered on my daughter. What are you doing? She did they're not my friend, and blah, 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 blah. She felt horrible, and to this day, now my daughter sort of has apologized, kind of like we did as an adult, and has brought her in. And this particular person has blossomed into this amazing adult. Yeah. But you have to, that's another pain in the ass thing as a parent that you have to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And we live from our mistakes and we do it with our own. And I have a couple of Latino children, so obviously they hear some things they probably don't want to hear. And so they have a very close-knit group of friends that they're really close with. And I can think of like 4 or 5 other kids in my high school that were just outcasts.
Yes.
Good kids.
Yep.
Because maybe they had too many pimples, or they were quiet, or they were super smart, or they weren't smart at all.
Yep.
And they were just loners. And I look back at them and I go, man, I had a real opportunity there to do something special, and I didn't do squat. I right now I am attracted to people like that.
You know why?
I look for people like that. I love people that are down. I don't love that they're down on their luck, but I mean, I'm attracted to people that need help, and a lot of it maybe because I needed help at some point in my life. But it just means so much for me to reach out to people that I know that are having a hard time, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm attracted to that. I mean,
nerds run the world.
Yeah.
We all have to acknowledge, own, and respect our inner geek, because we all are. The coolest people are absolutely a geek on the inside. And then the other thing that I think it teaches, and I think it's important, is it teaches your child how to be a real person in the world. Because you think about it. Think about the a-holes that we know now. Business, sports, right? And they're just complete pieces of shit, right?
Yeah.
Usually insecure, not always. Don't know, not emotionally unintelligent, emotionally unskilled. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to do empathy. It makes them uncomfortable. And because of, much like a boy, because they're in their position of power or whatever, they don't ever have to go there.
Yeah, they don't have to.
Right? Until which time their spouse leaves them, they get fired or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, imagine if your child was in a position to have that kind of empathy and whatnot. Why are we doing a parenting segment? Like, what the hell
because this
happened?
woman was just arrested.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and by the way, don't go on a bus and beat up an 11-year-old. That's probably not the right thing to do.
16-year-old, maybe.
No.
Maybe not 11-year-old.
Yeah, no. Don't go beat up.
I think there's just that.
I get the instinct.
The fantasy is to never have to say a word or put a fist, but
to
just see that child and just
look them
or catch them doing it and just kind of because.
But it's worse. It's not than the dad. It's mom.
Yeah,
mama gets on the bus.
And are you better off? And I know we went through this because we had a story about a woman who got on a thread with her daughter where they were just absolutely berating all the group, and they were like, "What the?" So she called all their parents.
Yeah.
And what is, depending on the age of your child, what do you do? Do you call their parents if you're good with their parents? Do you call the school? What do you do when you know
Yeah,
the
I mean, if
situation?
I'm going by the book, and the book is not what we as parents want to do, particularly if it's happening at school, you encourage, you tell your child, you don't encourage, they need to go to their teacher or the counselor. They need to go first.
Yeah.
Always they have to go first. Now, if that doesn't work and your child's young enough and they're not, then it's your job to call the school and say, I think that this is going on. Will you take a look at it? Take a look and listen, as much as we want to like just trash on schools, if some, I don't know, 9 or 10-year-olds getting teased and beat up or even just teased, schools are not evil.
No.
They're going to look into it. They're going to try to do something. And the reason that that's important is, if you think about it, now they're handling it at the kid level. Mm-hmm. You bringing parents into it, if you're bringing your parents, it doesn't help. Yeah. It really doesn't, because if you don't know the parent, you don't know how messed up they are, what their issues are. You don't know that. B, I always say this, and we said this is a segment. If you call on their parent and their parent berates their kid, unless they do a super good job on stay on it, now you're at risk of that kid retaliating more against your kid. Yeah. So like, just
do you remember A Christmas Story?
Yes. I'm going in my head. I'm going through every.
Drops the F-bomb. Where'd you learn that from? And he points it to his friend who didn't say it at all. So she picks up the phone. Did you know what your son told my son? And she's like, what? She goes off. It's great. Do you like Bill Maher?
Yes, he creeps me out just slightly. Like, he didn't creep me out. Like, I got to dial in. Yeah. Because between humor and politics, you kind of, are you serious? Are you joking? So yes, I do like Bill Maher, but I have to be in the right mood, and I got to be dialed in for Bill Maher, or I miss most of the stuff.
I used to watch him on HBO all the time, and thought it was hilarious. I mean, I just thought as a stand-up comedian, he was really, really funny. He's now become, I guess because of politics, he's become much more precocious. I do really respect the fact that he will say whatever the hell he feels.
Yes.
And he stands behind it. He's not a shot guy. No. He will tell you how he feels about something, and if you don't like it, he doesn't give a damn. And I really have respect for that. Well, I like that. I may not agree with it. And I mean, he does push the envelope. But there's a lot of people that love him for doing that. He appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and was talking about Norm Macdonald's life. He said a guy who was never afraid to be too subtle for most people. He said he did jokes he wanted to do, and I love that.
Did you hear that? Say it again. Too subtle.
Yeah, never too subtle. Yeah.
Right.
He put the B back in subtle. And then he continued. He said, I love that I found out he died after he died. Because to me, it's show business. We're here for the audience. We're not here for us. He said he was not judging anybody, but he's not on board with A-listers sharing all their health battles with the world. He said, sometimes the audience loves that. I've never been in that camp. I'm not here to burden you. I'm here to lighten your burden. So the fact that I didn't know about this, nobody knew about this, good one, Norm. He kept it to himself because he's in show business. He's here to make you happy.
Who's the actor, I'm sorry, in Black Panther? Do you remember?
I don't.
You know what I'm talking about, I don't remember his name, but he was dealing with cancer while he was doing Black Panther. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew. That's a Tony Curryism. Tony Curryism. That's a Tony Curryism.
Well, it is. I mean, we're here to entertain. We know your people. I didn't know he had cancer for the last 9 years. Now, you probably could have gotten online and found out about it, but he never advocated for cancer research. He never got out and did anything. He never talked about it. Whenever you saw him on TV shows, it was never brought up unless the person said, hey, by the way, we're praying for you through your situation. He would never talk about it. And Bill Maher loved the fact that he found out that he died after he died.
That's so Bill Maher. That's so Bill Maher. No, I mean, I understand and I get it, just the way he said it.
Oh, yeah. Only Bill Maher can have something somewhat controversial to say about a guy who just died.
That's right.
But I mean, I get it.
Did he know him? Do you know if he knew
him?
Yeah,
they were friends.
I mean, it does. It's your. I mean, listen. You said it. That's your job is to do that. And now, one thing I don't think is appropriate is, and this is I mean, it's not controversial, but this is a call. Let's say you do have cancer or some sort of illness, and you're trying to work through it. I'm using the opposite example. Robin Roberts from right. I mean, she was sick, super sick. She was losing her hair. You know, So the question becomes, at what point do you not try to pull it off anymore? Do you pull back? Do you try to like fake it until which time either you look or feel so bad that you've got to say something? Now, Norm Macdonald, what was he doing for the last 9 years?
He's been doing podcasts. He's been appearing on late night television shows.
So he's been on shows with cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the whole thing is if it's obvious or you're sick, I think you come clean.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's kind of the thing is everybody knows, don't try to play it off. Obviously, Norm Macdonald was in a position to nobody knew.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay, but I do think there comes a point where, look, I got cancer.
Yeah. And I think the fans understand that as well. I mean, sometimes you want to let people know what your situation is because you want the prayers. You need people to think about you. I don't think people do it from a sympathetic standpoint or empathy. I don't think they want people to feel sorry for them.
No. But
some people do. But I mean, for the most part, I think they want to share their story. And again, then you take it to another level. Are you using your story to get behind a particular cause or a platform to further research for whatever the situation is? You know, we had Robbie Glenn on yesterday talking about his son and the syndrome, and we love helping out that way. But from a celebrity standpoint, and I've told you this a million times, and I used to
you told me
I work with.
No one cares you're tired. I can do it. Yeah. No one cares you're tired. No one cares you're sick. No one cares that you've had a rough day.
They don't.
You got on my ass one of the first shows we ever did together after I was a guest.
Yeah.
And I said something like I was tired because it was at night.
Yeah.
And we went into break and you're like, don't tell anyone you're tired. I'm like, why? I'm just tired. Nobody cares that you're tired.
Yeah.
No, I was like, oh, okay. Well, nobody cares you're tired. You know what, though? Here's what's something that's interesting, that's unique. We've talked about this. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
See, I think any other, I can't even think of it. Only comedians are in this bind.
Yeah.
Because you can't, it's hard to say, I have cancer. I mean, you could make it funny. I mean, you could do, but even if you made it funny, it's not funny.
No.
Like, that's the thing. You could try to make light of it, and you could try to make fun. Richard Pryor did stuff about the burns and all that kind of stuff, but he wasn't dying of cancer. And I'm trying to think of any other profession where, by the very nature of your diagnosis, it sort of ruins your ability to do your job.
Yeah, well, we saw it on the last Comic Standing. Who was the kid that had... did he have MS or what? It was a comedian and it would make fun of his disability.
Well, but that's different.
And
I mean,
I know, but I mean, it was something that he was challenged with and going through. And after it's like a fat comedian doing fat jokes.
Yeah,
it's like it's funny, but okay, those are the easy ones.
But dying jokes are not the same thing.
No.
And I think obviously for comedians, you by definition you can't. How do you do that?
Yeah. No. Again, it would take Bill Maher to say.
Bill Maher could do it.
But in a way, there is something really romantic and beautiful about the way Norm Macdonald died. It was a shocker because most people didn't know he was going through cancer. I didn't. And so when I saw it 61, I was like, what in the world happened?
Right.
It was surprising. But there is something intriguing, romantic. I don't even know what the word is, that he had this illness and that he didn't let a lot of people know about it.
Well, and also, and I mean, that's,
because that is a sign. Psychologically, you're going to blow me up here, but that seems like a sign of strength. Like he had it. Like
no. Exactly, I was going to.
Like he figured it out. Like he was comfortable enough without having to burden other people. With his disease.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is he had whatever pride. Mm. Sometimes, listen. I've known many people with cancer and other sort of terminal conditions. They don't want to tell you because what they don't want to do is have their entire life focused around, I'm so sorry, we're praying for you.
Yeah.
Like, after a while, it's like, so I think a lot of times it's on the burden of the person who has the illness to say things like, I appreciate it. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm good. No. And
it's a special person to pull that off.
It happens
because I would bet at 9 out of 10 people want to let people know, and some people obviously take it to another level where they're constantly bringing up what their illness is because they're looking for that sympathy and they want people to and maybe it's because they need that support. I don't know what it is, but that is incredibly.
But think about what you see on.
Think about if you found out you had cancer today.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, God forbid.
Terminal or just cancer?
Terminal.
I wouldn't say a word.
You tell Jules.
Well, yes, of course I would tell.
Well, okay, but sure, but I mean, and you. Would,
I would tell you. I would tell. What I'm saying is, there would be no public. I was trying to think if there's any celebrity that we've known who has come out and said, "I've been diagnosed with terminal cancer," and blah 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 blah. Like before they got sick or before they sort of had.
Magic with HIV, it wasn't cancer, but I mean, and at that time it was a death sentence.
Well, he had to though.
Yeah.
That's what he had to, because otherwise he couldn't just disappear. He had to resign. So, and I was even trying to think if on social media. I mean, obviously I haven't looked for this. How many people come out on social media? Lots of people come out on social media and talk about a family member.
Yeah.
My father was diagnosed. Please pray for it. But I was trying to think about how many people ever come out, and I'm sure there are, on social media and say, "I've been diagnosed with terminal cancer."
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that as much as my sister, my daughter, my kid, my, whatever. I don't see it that much. Because I think I think we feel, I mean, I don't know. I've never been through this other than patients that I've had. They're scared.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to figure it out. And they want the support, but it's kind of like you need the support in doses. It's overwhelming to have a gazillion people.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I don't.
Are you okay?
This is just a great topic because, you would tell your son.
I would tell my family.
You tell your close people, and you may even divulge it in some type of segmental kind of way. Maybe if you're on BRC, which you were on BRC yesterday, we were on.
I wouldn't unless I was never going to be on there again.
Yeah. But to put it on social media, I saw a post this morning. From someone saying, my great-great-grandfather's going through blah, 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 blah. And it was this long post, and I was kind of like, and I'm not even sure if this woman had seen her great-great-father. Please pray for him. And I mean, those come scrolling across my feed all day, every day, and I usually just like it, or it's in a heart with the hands. And then you're getting all these responses. And then there's these other people that are on social media, it's on Facebook a lot, are the angels. I call them the angels.
What are they doing?
They're the ones that almost like they're looking for these posts about people
so that they can pray for them.
So they can pray for them because and there's I can't say because we're on Facebook Live right now. There's like 3 or 4 people that whenever I see a post about someone in the hospital or dying or hurting, they're the first ones that always post praying for you, horrible news, love you, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I didn't even know you knew this person. It's like every time I get on now, I have mutual friends. But it's kind of like it's almost like they're the angel of death.
Okay, so listen here. This is all the protocol stuff. What is it that you say? Because we have on social media, we have a lot of second and third connections.
Yeah.
Right? So people, I'm friends with some of your friends who I'm actually not friends with.
Yeah.
And they post something. I'm friends with your third friend, who I don't even know, but I have befriended them because I know you, and then they tell me that their cousin, their cousin is in the hospital, and they don't even say they're dying. They're in the hospital with a serious condition, and it comes across my feed.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I'm like, and you can't like it, right? Because
you can't. You've got to send something.
Well, I'm tormented because it's like, first of all,
because you care about human life.
I care about. Well, that's great. Because I care about human life, I'm thinking about you, right? Because that's the thing. If I'm going to be honest, I don't know. I don't know you.
I know.
I don't know your cousin. I don't want bad things to happen. But I feel like any words that I'm going to say. So I do. I'm not a big. Just pick on my. I'm not a big. I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
So thinking good thoughts for you, keeping good thoughts for you, and then I look at it and I send it off and I look at it, I'm like, what a.
Thank God for the emojis, man.
I look like a tool.
I know.
I look like a tool. Like, first of all, this guy's looking at it, and he may feel grateful. We do the whole that birthday. So overwhelmed by all the birthday wishes, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I can see this person looking at it going, who's he?
And why is he following?
And why is he?
And why is he commenting on my
cousin?
Did you know him? Or do you know who he is?
Well, he's not dead yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? I know. And then if you don't respond to it, then you think that maybe they know you got it because you follow them. Wonder why they didn't respond.
I've done that.
I don't think people get that far.
I feel guilty, and then I feel a little sneaky, just a little bit, and then it's like avoidance. I'm gonna go through.
Well, look at it this way. Maybe it's a compliment, the fact that you do find out this information because they like you enough or know you well enough that they followed you.
Well, they don't know me. No. That's the whole way social media works, right?
Well, that's on you, though, because you're the one that followed them because they're friends of mine. We had mutual friends.
No, I did a friend request, or they requested friends of me. Yeah. Oh, that actually works.
So
okay, we're friends. Okay, from now on.
Yeah.
Okay. My good deed for the day every day is I wish everybody who it pops up on my Facebook, everybody, even if I kind of don't know you, happy birthday when it's your birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday to everybody. Because you know what? I don't care who.
That doesn't even tell his best friend when his birthday is.
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. If you're on social media, and don't lie, you count how many birthday wishes you got, and
really
not count, but that you like getting. We like getting birthday wishes, particularly with social media now, because you see the list.
But I also think that's why we spread bad news about great uncles.
Why? Because we want.
Well, yeah, it feels good. I mean, could you imagine if you sat there and you had like 1,000 followers and you're writing, "Hey, please put prayers up for my brother."
And nobody said anything.
Brother, he was in an ATV accident, blah 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 blah, and you got no response from it.
Right.
But you do it, and you can't wait to get on there and see all the.
That's right.
Praying for you, it's going to be okay.
Well, it does make you feel better. Yes, it absolutely makes you feel better.
Well, it's kind of like.
Look, we talked about this. This is the. Why do you post things about your anniversary, or why do you post things? I know. No, but I do think it's okay. Well, it's all okay. I post things about when my dad died, when my stepdad died. Yeah. I posted something because in part, and I had this in part, a lot of my extended friends, people that I went to school with, etc., maybe who knew my dad, would have had no other way of knowing. And had a relationship with my dad. And these aren't close friends. Mm-hmm. So I felt like it was a respectful thing to do.
Talk about one of our great sponsors. We'll play some classic rock. It's a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We got you going on here with Classic Rock, the Bell on the Tony Curry Radio Network. You go to Tony Curry Radio on all of our social media platforms. And we'll be back on Facebook Live in a few minutes if you want to watch us while you listen to us. We'll play some classic rock for you next. Right after Dr. Josh talks about one of our great sponsors.
I'm going to talk about something a little more uplifting because, man, that went down a rabbit hole. Woodhouse Day Spa. Just 905-7676. Go to their webpage, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You go birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Take a look at what I'm talking about. It is like going on vacation. You open the door when you get there. You smell the essential oils. You look at the place. It's absolutely gorgeous. And whether it's a manicure, pedicure, facial, massage, any combination, you are treated as if you're on a vacation. This is not just a place to go do these things. Stuart Rome has created something up at the summit that is truly an opportunity to go on a vacation for an hour, a half day. They even have a full day package. Again, the telephone number is 905-7676. Webpage, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
All right.
Just checking out a little more Baywatch.
Yeah, we're watching the Baywatch, by the way, on the other side.
It was Baywatch, Gilligan's Island mashup.
We have Baywatch right behind us. If we put it on this TV, you wouldn't watch us at all.
I wouldn't. But did you see it? It was Baywatch mashed up with Gilligan's Island.
They did
Dawn Wells, God rest her soul, and there were also T-backs on that.
Dawn Wells looked really good in it.
Well, she was young.
And Gilligan looked...
Wait, how did they do that?
No, this was like older. This was like done when Baywatch came out.
Did you see the G-strings?
Yeah, that was Dawn Wells' real age, Dawn Wells, because Gilligan looked like he was 90 years old.
You're going to have to change it. I can't concentrate, dude. You do it on purpose just to mess me up.
I'm going to hop on the SS Minnow here and come back at you in a couple songs.